Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about the last lesson, which is domain and range. Remember, this is Unit 5. So I may break this into two separate videos if it gets to be too long, but we'll see. All right, so domain and range, we've talked a little bit about this before, right on the first day. So domain is a list of all the inputs, all your X's that are being used. And range is a list of all the outputs. So you put the X values, your inputs, into the function, and then out comes your outputs or your Y values. All right, so all the X's you put in are your domain, all the Y's that come out are your range. So let's just talk about finding the domain and range. All right, so remember, one way that you could remember this, I guess, is D comes before R in the alphabet and X comes before Y. And just remember, every single point is an X and then a Y. So for this, our X's are 9, 4, 5, -9, and 9 again. When you list them, don't repeat anything. So it's 9, 4, 5, -9. 9 we've already included right here. So that's our list of our domain values. When you make a list, remember, put it in brackets with commas. If you can't do the brackets, just do a couple squiggly lines at the beginning and end. All right, range is your Y values. So 2, 3, 7, 4, 6. 2, 3, 7, 4, 6. You could put them in numerical order if you want. Sometimes they do, but it's not necessary. Now, is it a function? This is going back to lesson 2. Remember, each X can only have one Y. Remember that sentence. Each person, which is the same as our X, can only have one birthday, which is the same as Y. So each X can only have one Y. You might be able to see here that it's not a function because 9 goes to 2, but then 9 goes to 6. 9 can't have two birthdays. But instead of birthdays, we'll say 2 Y values. If you wanted to, you can quickly make a mapping diagram for this. If it's hard for you to notice that, remember your domain goes in the first circle, 9, 4, 5, -9. Our range goes in the second, 2, 3, 7, 4, 6. So it's a good review too, because you're going to have to be able to make a mapping diagram. So 9 goes to 2, 4 goes to 3, 5 goes to 7, -9 goes to 4, and then 9 goes to 6. So right here is where you can see that it's not a function. Okay, so domain on the next one, 0, 4, 7, -3. And our range, 2. There's just one range value. Is it a function? Explain. Remember, each X can only go to one Y, but more than one X, more than one person, can all go to the same, can all have the same birthday. Whoops. So if I look at this, if you wanted to make a quick mapping diagram, basically everything would just go to 2. That's okay. Every X goes to just one Y. So each X has only one Y. Each person has only one birthday. It's okay that they all have the same birthday. All right, next one, domain, 0, 7, 3, 0 again, 2. So 0, 7, 3, 0 we already have, 2. Range, 5, 3, 7, 0, 5 again. 5, 3, 7, 0, 5's already here. So we'll just close it up. Is it a function? Again, you could make a mapping diagram or notice that 0 goes to 5 and then 0 goes to 0. So no, 0 has 2 Y values. All right, last one like this, domain -1, -2, -3, -1 again. But we're not going to list it. 9987, so just 987. Doesn't have it. Is it a function here? Oh, it went to the next page, so. Oops. It's not a function because -1 goes to 9 and then -1 goes to 7. It's okay that these two both went to 9, but again, two x's, two people can't have, or one x can't have the same birthday, excuse me. Not a function. Okay. This one is actually a repeat, so I'm going to have to cross that out. Oops. All right, now it gets a little bit more complicated when you're looking at a graph. Not so much when you're looking at points, but when you're looking at something that's connected like this. So I'm going to spend some extra time on those graphs. With this particular one, because you have 4 separate points, the easiest way to take care of this one is to make an actual table and list your points. So over here we have the point -2, 1. And then we have 1, -2. 2, 0. And again, I know it's 2, 0 and not the other way around because 2 is right on this x-axis. So it's the x value. All right, and then 3, 1. So now it's easy. The domain, -2, 1, 2, 3. And your range, 1, -2, 0, 1. Is it a function? Well, if you look at the graph, does it pass the vertical line test? There's nowhere on here where we can draw a vertical line and it would cross more than one point. So yes, it passes the vertical line test. Or you could look and see that no x repeats. There's no x that goes to more than one y. All right, so the rest of these are a little bit more complicated, and this is what I'm going to spend the extra time on. All right, so domain remembers all of your x's. So we're going to start there. So x, I want you to think of your domain as your width. Now here you just had 4 distinct points. We only use those values. But here you're looking at all the decimals in between. So this could be, you know, -0.5, -0.5, -0.6, -0.2. You know, you're thinking about all those decimals in between. So we're going to use our interval notation that we did back when we talked about inequalities. All right, so domain is your x's, right? So x's go from side to side. So figure out the furthest point to the left and the furthest point to the right and anything in between here. So from here to here, and they're both closed circles, that's your domain. What x's are being used? It goes from -3 to 3. Since they're both closed circles, remember we're going to use brackets. Remember, if they're closed circles, we use brackets. If it's an open circle, you'll have to use parentheses, which comes up once in a while. All right, now your range, those are your y values. Let me change up the color here. Your y-axis runs up and down. So basically your range goes from your min to your max. So what's the lowest point it gets to? Right here. -2 is your min. And the highest point it gets to is just 1. So from here to here is your range. Okay, so it's a little bit different when you're looking at it, you know, a table and a list of points. It's pretty easy. It's just your x's and your y's. Well, here your x's there's an infinite number of them. It's anything that's between -3 to 3 on your x's, and it's anything between -2 to 1 on your y's for your range. So -2, 1, brackets. Is it a function? Yes, it passes the vertical line test. All right. So this one, same thing. You can't just count the points. You got to count every single thing in between. So let's start with your domain. Your domain is your x's, which is your width, right? So our graph runs from here to here. I'm going to just pull this down here. So from -4 to 4, that's your domain. And please get this down. You're going to have these same things on your quizzes and things. All right, so -4 to 4, I used brackets because they're closed circles. They're included. All right, now our range, remember, is your y values. So the lowest point it gets to is down here at -4. Again, that's your min, right? And the highest point it gets to up here is your max. Looks like it gets up to 2. So your range is anything between the y values being used, anything in between -4 and 2. Oops. -4 and 2. Is it a function? Yes. I can't draw, there's nowhere on here I can draw a vertical line and it would cross more than once. So yes, it passes the vertical line test. Whoops. An example of it not crossing would be something like this. If you have a graph and you have, something like that, then it would cross twice, so it wouldn't be a function because it would have 2 y's. All right, I'm going to pause there with this first video. Again, I'm going to post a second video going over these same things. Maybe let me just see here. Well, let's just continue. That way you don't have 2 videos to watch. Okay, this one may be on the page before this. Determine the range of your function if the domain is this. So now we're going to grab our calculator. I'm giving you the domain. I'm giving you the x values, -2, 0, and 4. To get your y values, we're going to go to y equals and type in our equation. Remember that g of x is the same as y equals. It's just function g. It's given it a name. So we'll go to y equals. Again, this question should be on the bottom of page 21. All right, so negative, right down here, if the first sign's a negative, use the negative, not the minus. -2x plus 5. All right, and then we'll take a look at the table, second graph. When x is -2, it's 9. And again, you could have done -2 times -2 plus 5, -2 times 0 plus 5, -2 times 4 plus 5, or use a calculator. Okay, 0 is 5, and 4 is -3. So your range is 9, 5, and -3. Okay, so let's get some practicing with this. I'm going to stop the video here. Again, this question was originally on this previous page here. All right. If you have questions, stop by Math Lab or my Zoom classes. Have a good day.